Hello,
Oh, Michael, it's Cassandra from Silver Tiger Media. How are you?
how are you? Nice to talk with you.
Yes, you too. How's things going?
Things are going well, a little crazy around here. They have been for a few months. We moved our house into a new house and our office and our studio and storage unit. So we're trying to find a place for everything and get settled. We're getting there.
Very good. Now, let's start off first and foremost. How's your health? How's your eye doing?
My eye's doing okay. I can't see out of it like I used to be able to see out of it, not even close, but that's okay. I can see out of it. And I'm very happy for that because the prognosis was basically blindness. And, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I have what I have. And it's getting to a point where my brain's getting used to it and I'm getting used to it where I hardly even think about it anymore, to be honest.
Oh, it's yeah, so much such a relief to think, you may have lost your sight. So that's wonderful news. I've been keeping a watch on social media. So I'm so happy to hear that that's coming along really good for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just got to be careful and not jump out of any planes or off of any buildings, you know?
Now, when we last saw Stryper back in 2018 in Australia, you're performing as a trio. Oz was not doing so well, so we're delighted to have him back with us this time. How's he going?
He's doing great. I mean, Oz is doing great. We had to go as a trio only because there was no way to cancel at the time. And otherwise, we would have rescheduled. Thank God the crowd was so receptive and so gracious. Oz is doing great. Everyone in the band is doing good. Right now, any issues with traveling and touring is just based on age. We're all getting to that point where it's a little tougher to get up at 4 a.m. and lug 20 pieces of luggage through an airport. But that's as bad as it gets.
Oh, look, yeah. Well, I must say, I was at the 2018 show, and I think you guys did phenomenal. You just picked up the slack, and out of the solos, you were doing a lot of the heavy lifting. It was just, it was amazing. So we can't wait to see Oz back, though. It'll be fantastic.
And that blew my mind. I remember reading reviews after those shows, and I expected the worst. Uh, and then got the best. The reviews were just amazing, and it was a tough situation, but everyone came understanding that, and as they say, the show must go on. It went on, and I'm so thankful that it was so well received. I mean, I'm just so grateful.
Yeah. Well, I was one of those review writers, so yeah, and we loved it. So I'm glad you enjoyed the reviews as well.
Oh, I did, and you guys were so kind, and thank you for being so kind. But it was lacking a little in spots. I guess I need to be a little bit more prepared. We all should be. Where if anything like that ever happens again, I can cover solos a little better and whatnot. Instead of playing rhythm during a solo, I need to be soloing. But we'll get to that point or not.
Yeah. Or hopefully you never have to again. That's the ultimate
Exactly.
goal.
Exactly.
Now, the final battle has been very well received. Congratulations on such a terrific album. I'm really loving Rise to the Call and Transgressor. Do you have any particular favorites?
Oh gosh, yeah. I always tend to gravitate towards the songs that aren't everyone else's favorite. My favorites are songs like "Till Death Do Us Part," "The Way, the Truth, the Life," "Same Old Story." I gravitate to those kind of songs. I'm not sure why. I like more mid-tempo powerhouse songs and songs that are just a little different, the odd men out, if you will.
Absolutely. Now, with your album centering around your Christian beliefs, do you find it hard sometimes to come up with new writing and when you're settling into a new album?
You know what? Not yet.
Yeah, good.
Not yet. And it's amazing because you would think that that would be the case after almost 40 years of doing
Yes.
this. But that old saying, the well hasn't gone dry yet. It hasn't, and I'm really thankful for that. Maybe someday that will happen. I hope it doesn't. But, I just love what I do. And every time I go into a new album, whether it's with Stryper, solo, or another project, I get excited about working on a new album. And I think that inspires me to do my best, and it works out.
Fantastic. Now, can you give us some insight into the writing process? Are you holding the pen for all of these, Michael, or is it a bit of a joint venture?
It's not so much a joint venture. Usually what happens is when it's time to write an album, I go into my studio and I start writing, and I'll come up with a riff and then a drum groove for that riff within maybe 10 minutes. And then once that's done, it's about 1 to 2 hours until the song's done. It's about a 2 hour ordeal. And then once that's done, I'll record it on my phone and send it to the other guys and say, here's the song. And they'll text me back and say, love it. This is killer. This is great. Oh yeah. And then I'll do the next song the next day, and the next song the next day, until there's 11 or 12 songs after 11 or 12 days. And it's a fairly quick, I'll fine tune the lyrics, over the 2 or 3 week period. And I'm continuously doing that, and up until the point where I sing those songs. But it's just writing. Writing is probably my biggest gift. I put that above singing and playing. There's just something in me that turns on when it's time to write songs.
That's a very intense process, though, to do that in such a short time. It's very impressive.
Yeah, it's just the way I'm built these days. It used to take me a lot longer in the day, and sometimes I'd get hung up on a song, sometimes for months. These days, that doesn't happen. It hasn't happened since 2007.
Yep.
So they've all been written in a fairly quick amount of time, in a 2 week period, a day of a song, pretty much. And that's solo, Sweet and Lynch, Stryper, any project I've been a part of, it goes fairly quickly.
Right. That's fabulous. Now, when you're performing the new album, do you have any favorites that you actually like performing live?
Well, believe it or not, we haven't performed any of the new songs from the Final Battle live yet.
Oh, so Australia will be the first?
Well, we're not even playing any songs there from the Final Battle.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
a
know.
shame.
Well, I know, and it's interesting because they were calling it the Final Battle Tour. Don't mind that. That's my phone ringing. One second.
That's all right. We can chop it out in an edit.
Anyway, they were calling it the Final Battle Tour, and I said to everybody, I said, it's not the Final Battle Tour because we haven't started that yet. We won't start that until summer of this year. So, I can guarantee you that we won't let anybody down, because we're doing a 21 song set list that's comprised of classics and new material. Just nothing from the Final Battle.
Oh, that's disappointing, but we'll still be happy either way. It doesn't matter. Another question I did have in relation to set lists is, having such an extensive back catalogue, do you find it hard picking a set list when you've got so many songs to choose from? It's a tough job.
It's really hard. And with each album release, it gets harder and harder and harder. Yeah, it's very tough. I mean, you get to the point where you have to play To Hell with the Devil.
Yes.
But you don't always want to play To Hell with the Devil, because you want to throw, Transgressor in there, or you want to throw something new in there. And the fans, oddly enough, usually are disappointed if you throw too many new songs in the set.
That was my next question. Yes, because I thought, do you go with the fan favorites, or do you mix it up for something different so you don't get stuck playing the same songs all the time?
Well, for the most part, you play the same songs a lot, but Stryper definitely is a rarity in the sense that we throw in a lot more newer material than most bands. Half of our set is newer material. Half of it's classic, half of it's newer material. And when I say newer material, I mean starting from 2007 or 9. We've got a bunch of songs sprinkled in there that are newer.
Yes.
And it's important for us to play songs like Yahweh. Yahweh's every bit as good as Soldiers Under Command, and as powerful, maybe even better. So it'd be a crime and a shame to not play that. And most fans, I think, would agree with us. They expect to hear Yahweh now. And if we don't play Yahweh, it's become a modern classic.
Yes, well, I know when you were here in 2018, that was your the first song out when you came on stage, and
Yeah.
and then obviously we had Soldiers and To Hell with the Devil towards the end of the set, but yeah, it was a great Yahweh to kick off the set was just amazing.
For sure. And it's a powerful song. And it's so much fun to play that song live. And it just says so much musically and lyrically and spiritually. And you can feel the power from that. And it's amazing. So I think that's a staple in our set now. We'll always play that song.
Yeah. One thing I will say about that concert that I was at, the Melbourne one in 2018, the fans were the most respectful fans I think I've ever seen at a concert. To stand there and have everyone so respectful of each other, there was no pushing and shoving. It was just such a wonderful thing to be a part of. You must be so proud of your fans.
Oh my gosh. Kiss says they have the best fans in the world, but I really think that falls. Stryper truly has the best fans in the world. I mean, our fans are always so courteous, always so supportive, so respectful, as you said, as you put it. And it's like that worldwide, not just in Australia, not just in the US. It's literally worldwide. If we go to Mexico and perform and you see a band come out and there's a mosh pit and people are getting crazy and some people are getting hurt or beat up, Stryper comes out and it's a completely different atmosphere. It's really interesting.
Well, I took note. I go to a lot of shows and it really resonated with me straight away. I went, this is just different. And it felt calm, and there was still the buzz there of the live music, but the show was just very, like, as I said, it was respectful, and you felt really comfortable throughout the whole show.
Absolutely. And it's pretty much like that at every Stryper show. Sometimes on rare occasions, something happens that's unfortunate, a fight or someone being disrespectful or what have you. But I mean, I think that happens at many shows, but it's very rare to see at a Stryper show.
Yeah. Now we've got you're doing the whole of Australia when you come here. Most bands take the East Coast. You're doing the whole of Australia. That's such a wonderful, wonderful thing for the fans in Perth and Adelaide, because they do get left out quite a lot.
We're doing, I believe, 6 dates in Australia and 1 date in Auckland. So it's interesting. We're doing a lot. And I think last time we came, correct me if I'm wrong, we did maybe 4 shows or 5 shows. So yeah, we've added some cities on this run, and we're just thrilled to be able to come back and that people want to come and see us.
Now, while you're here, you're zipping, as you said, straight to New Zealand after you're here. So you've got no downtime to soak up some of the Aussie sun and surf?
You know what? I so wish we did. We don't. Everything is crammed into a short amount of time, and we might have a day here or a day there. But, we just, for example, went to Costa Rica not long ago last year, and we wound up performing there, and we went in like 2 or 3 days early. We went to Key West. We went in 2 or 3 days early. We had literally a time to hang out and enjoy the scenery and the town. In Australia, we're not going to get to do that. And it's a bummer because there's so much to see and we'd love to see it. And it just never seems to happen.
Well, maybe next time when you come back and we can hear some songs from the final battle, you can plan a little bit of extra downtime.
Absolutely, 100%. And what do you guys recommend for food while we're there?
Oh, my goodness. It has to be, Melbourne is the food capital of Australia. So you can go anywhere in Melbourne. And if you're a coffee drinker, which I'm not, but a lot of people are, and they say Melbourne has the best coffee. Anywhere is great in Melbourne. You won't pick a bad place, that's for sure.
I remember when I was in Melbourne last time, I did a solo thing there, and the coffee was amazing, and it was so good that I kept drinking it. I had more coffee than I've ever had in my life.
Speaking of that solo tour, I was at that show, and you were having your sips of olive oil, which you were talking about how you use that to keep your voice in such prime condition. Is that something you're still doing now?
I still do that. I only do it when needed. It's usually after 3 or 4 shows in a row and lack of sleep, and my voice is kind of froggy, a little bit. Um, that's when I'll do the olive oil. And, somebody told me about that. You would think that it's all ingested and there's no way it can lubricate your throat or your cords, your folds, but it actually does. It's amazing. When I drink a little bit of olive oil or do an olive oil shot before a show, I can feel and hear the difference.
You just see so many of the young singers now that are singing these dirty lyrics all the time rather than the clean voice, and they're just falling hard after a year or so. Their voices are just giving out on them, and I just wonder if they should take a leaf out of your book and have a bit of olive oil.
Well, I mean, there's a lot you can do. Olive oil is one thing. Another thing is warming up through a straw. That's another
Right.
thing that actually helps because the way it constricts your vocal folds, it actually opens them up when you go to sing. So it's a great exercise doing that, and then just taking care of yourself. Sleep is the most important thing for me. If I don't get sleep, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
And trying to eat healthy and not uh, you know, take in too many things in abundance, whether it's smoking or drinking or what have you. So just trying to take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Just another question before we finish up, Michael. If we were to go back to 1983 to the Yellow and Black attack, did the younger version of Michael Sweet see himself on a worldwide touring circuit and putting out such quality albums 40 years later?
Oh my word, most definitely not. I I remember thinking back in those days about the future and thinking, oh, this, we'll retire when I'm 30 or 35, and that's just
Your
not the
kids are
case.
that old now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, no, there's no way I would have thought that back then. No way.
Oh, well, it's wonderful that you're still here and making wonderful music. Is there a new album in the works?
Well, I have a Sweet Lynch album coming out
Great.
with George Lynch, of course. It's, I think, our best Sweet Lynch album. It's really strong. I love it. That's coming out in May. And then I just turned in a new album. Some people might call it a solo album, but it's really not. It's with another guy by the name of Alessandro Del Vecchio. He works with Frontiers as a producer and a writer. We co-wrote this album together, and I'm singing it, and he's performing music, and it's kind of in the wheelhouse of Journey, like
Right.
early '80s Journey, with a little more edge. So it's not a metal album at all, but I'm really excited about that. That's going to be awesome. That'll come out later this year.
Oh, well, that's something to look forward to. Absolutely. My husband is a big Sweet and Lynch fan as well, so he'll be very excited to hear that when I tell him.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's coming out in May. And I'm trying to think of the title of the album. I can't even recall the title of the album at this point in time. But it's a really good album. I think your husband's going to love it.
Fantastic. Look, we cannot wait to have Stryper back in Australia, and we look forward to seeing you front and centre in Melbourne. I'll give you a little wave. But thank you so much for your time today, and we wish you a safe flight, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for talking to me and taking the time. You have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon at a Stryper show.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.